Hi, Paul Gerard, Price Accounting Services. This session we're going to cover a topic which may not appeal to all investors, but this is going to be particularly relevant to somebody who says, hey, this is my first property investment. So if that's not you, you might want to skip on to the next session. But if it is something that interests you, we've got some content here. Okay, so what do you need to know as a property investor from a tax side of things? Well, it's all about knowledge. The more you can arm yourself as an owner, the cheaper it's going to be and the more effective your tax outcomes are going to be. If you think that you can just walk into an accountant and say, give me all the answers, we can do that for you, but it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of money. You don't want to do that. So I'll argue the best clients I have in property are those that are really informed. They've done their own reading, they've got a bit of knowledge, and they ask really informed questions. So where do you start? Well, my recommendation is an ATO document. It's called 2017 or 2016, whichever year you might be in, 2017 Rental Properties Guide. Google that. Document number is NAT1729, so you can always Google NAT1729 and up will come the document. PDF document, loads of content in it. Read it from front to back. It's going to cover all the content. What's assessable? What's deductible? What does capital mean? What is non-deductible? What might be deductible? And so on. Now, you're then going to have loads of questions. Watch our content. That's what it's there for. It'll help to fill in those gaps. So your knowledge is going to become far stronger. The other thing as an owner, if this is your first property, the first tip I can ever give somebody who's embarking on that journey into property is build a core team around you. By a core team, I'm talking a great mortgage broker. And if you need to know the name of one, I can give you a tip. I know many great mortgage brokers. You want to get them on board. It doesn't cost you anything. The lender pays them. Mortgage broker, you might need a great buyer's agent if that's something you want to do. Alternatively, some people choose to go out and find their own property. Each to their own. The other person you need in your team, a great tax advisor who knows property. Now, this is one I can be criticised for saying this, but I'm going to be blunt and say not all tax advisors are great with property. Property is so complex. It ranges through from investors and developers and people who main residence exemptions and stamp duty. There's just a myriad of content you'll find just on PAS TV under property. So that demonstrates the amount of knowledge that a key advisor needs to have. If your tax advisor is not really property savvy, you won't know. You will not know what they don't know. So arm yourself with a great experienced professional who does know tax on property. And the other key person, of course, is your lawyer. Some people say, oh, I've got a great conveyancer. I'm going to give you a tip. Conveyancers aren't solicitors. Solicitors deal with problems, tax problems, legal problems, matrimonial problems, but they deal with problems and they provide a legal solution. If you have a problem with property, that's what you need. A conveyancer just handles the transition from one owner to another. It doesn't hurt to get a great property or great tax person on board, because if anything goes wrong, that's where they're going to really come into their own and be able to give you seamless advice. So that's my little thing on that issue. Another great way to build knowledge, propertychat.com.au. You'll find me, Paul, at PFI, on Property Chat. Property Chat's one of Australia's leading property forums. You can subscribe for a very token cost. You can post questions, read the threads, go to the tax or the development thread or the one for financing. And before you jump in necessarily and start asking questions, read some of the past threads. They've probably got the answer already. You can search and do all sorts of things. Property Chat is fantastic if you're embarking on a property journey. You will pick up so much knowledge, and the members on the Property Chat forum are very gracious to share their information and knowledge. You'll find lawyers, conveyancers, tax, brokers, the lot. So armed with all that knowledge, the aim is that you can then ask more informed questions. So you can ring me and say, Hey Paul, I was reading about the tax deductibility of interest and I want to do, you know what I mean? That's a far more informed way of asking a question than just saying, hey, tell me what interest is tax deductible. Yeah, where do I start? I have to start from the beginning. It's going to take time. Happy to do that, but hey, it's going to cost somebody. So, next tip I can give a budding investor is keep fantastic records. Records of your acquisition, records of your costs, records of your payments, records of your invoices, a copy of the lawyer's settlement sheet. You might not need it today. You'll need it when you do your tax, and you'll need it in 20 years' time if you sell that property too. So arm yourself with great record keeping. Things like our tax checklist help. We offer a thing called My Property CGT Record. It's a fantastic, simple tool to maintain a permanent record of key dates, amounts, events, and all sorts of things that happen to each one of your properties. Because you're going to forget what date you moved in. You'll say, oh, I moved in February 2017. What date was that? Or was it January? Oh, I can't really remember. Have the date recorded, okay? Things that I find useful and other investors find useful, use the cloud, okay? Dropbox, Google Drive, iCloud, whatever you choose to use. Capture your images, your scans, or your photographs of your key documents. I'll argue photographs of key documents aren't great, so be wary of that. Scan, you can buy a scanner at 40 bucks at Kmart or wherever you choose to. Scan those documents in color or black and white, good quality, into PDF, and pop it on the cloud. You can access it from work, home, overseas even. So I use Dropbox, for example. Great tools and often free. I've got 1 terabyte through another cloud solution merely because I've got a Microsoft subscription. You know, 1 terabyte of data that just travels the world on my phone, my tablet, if I log in at work, okay? So think about those things. New property investors often don't also know about some things that are available. One of the things you consider is a PAYG variation. Okay, PAYG variation looks at your, let's say your 2018 tax position, and it says, okay, I've got this property and it's got a tax deduction loss of 10 grand. So if we work on the usual basis of about 30-35% of that value as being refundable, there's a $3,000 odd refund that's going to come in the 2018 year. And you can choose to wait until the end of the 2018 year and you'll get a nice little refund check, okay? Alternatively, if cash flow is really tight, you can do a PAYG variation. And here's how it works. You pre-estimate your 2018 year income and you provide the tax office with your employer's details. They then write to the employer and instruct the employer, hey, look, for Fred, don't withhold at the normal scales, use this percentage. So you'll get your 3 grand or maybe 2.5 grand of your 3 grand back as, let's say, $200 a month in additional cash flow. So you got to weigh up, is the cost and time and trouble of doing it worth it? Do you want a refund at the end of the year, or are you happy to just get it up front? Something to discuss, something to think about, and that's a PAYG variation. So ask your tax advisor about that one if you're not sure. We often discourage it because you weigh it up and you say, well, the benefit of getting $800 through the year, it's negligible. Why would you pay a couple of $100 to get that thing lodged for something so small? So something to talk about with your advisor. The other key way you can gain knowledge, of course, is to just watch our videos. This entire playlist concerning rental property information is just packed with knowledge, okay? Watch each and every one. If you find something that's not particularly relevant, skip it. Move on to the next, okay? So we really do look forward to seeing you watching some of this content, and it's provided to you from the Property Experts Price Accounting Services, and look forward to discussing anything inquiries you may have. We welcome them, and we look forward to seeing you in the next session. I'm over. Cheers. See you later.